And welcome everybody to IFB Interfleet Broadcasting, and this is our exclusive show. So Tipsy Toaster is off. I have a great guest waiting in the green room. Joseph Dawson is an author, military sci-fi. We're going to get into his book. It just came out very, very recently, and I'm going to welcome him right now. Hey, Joe, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good. So welcome to IFB. This is our a smaller segment. You know, it's a branch from our main show where we do a lot of exclusive and special interviews with whomever we can get that we believe is doing something in that sci-fi world or the genre world, like yourself. So welcome. And you know, Joe, you're a pretty fairly new author. You released your first book, The Struggle Between the Stars, just recently. From what I understand, it came out in April, man. So congratulations. You know, not everybody gets that chance to do that. So tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll talk about the book. We'll get into it. I've looked it up. I have some questions, but yeah, tell us about you.
So me, I am employed full-time as a chef right here in Acadia National Park, Bar Harbor in Maine. Besides that, I'm part-time. I'm a platoon sergeant in the United States Army Reserve. I serve as a signals intelligence analyst, and that's one of those jobs where it's I could tell you, but then I have to kill you kind of thing. So it's a very interesting thing. I'm also a father of 2 little boys and happily married.
Excellent. Well, you're in good hands. I after 9/11, I went back into exploring the military, and I joined the New York Guard. I served for 8 years proudly as a commissioned officer. So keep up the good work. And you know, we like to toast to the fans, Joe, because you know, if it's not for the fans, there wouldn't be much out there. You know, we'd be just 2 talking heads. But it's a big deal with IFB. And it's our tradition. So if you have something to drink, let's toast to the fans. Fans fuel the fleet, guys. Thank you for joining us. And here's to you guys. So let's see. I have a couple of comments. I know that Linda Russell's on with us. Kim Harm's on with us. George Giacomis is in the house. Thank you. One of our production producers. in a regular IFB. So thank you for taking the time out, guys. I appreciate it. And there's a few others that are circling around either on YouTube or one of the other social media platforms. And Joe, if you're not aware, sometimes our videos, our interviews, they take off, and we get numbers 30, 40,000 views, not typically on our live shows, but afterwards, when people get a chance, they sit back, they want to tune into what's going on. So Joe, you've done this military sci-fi book. So what drove you to write, and then tell us about the book.
So writing is something that I actually just kind of stumbled into. So I got back from basic leadership course in the Army. That's similar to your BOLIC. And I got back from that, and something about, that course, just, it broke something loose in me. And I originally started writing that book, and I was like, I had no idea how to write, and I just started writing. And before I knew it, I had a whole manuscript in front of me.
All right. See, the key thing here that we've started to hear again and again, that a lot of the fans have to tune in on and pick up on, is you gotta give in to whatever it is that's driving you when it comes to putting, pen to paper or finger to keypad,
Yeah.
and you got to get it done, right? If you want to write, you got to stop talking about it and actually do it. So where did you go from there?
In regards to what?
I mean, like you sat, you wrote, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
right
So,
now think about it, Joe. A lot of our fans and a lot of people we talk to, they've written stuff, but it's never gone anywhere. You actually took the next step.
So the next step was, I'm not a very good technical writer. My grammar, punctuation, my wife says it, it's probably the worst she's ever seen. So I took it, and I was like, all right, I'm going to find a freelancer. I got a freelancer to edit it, take care of like the actual, structure of it. Not so much the story, but, the grammar and punctuation, syntax, all these things I'm not even aware of. So she took care of it, acted as my first beta reader. And then after that, it went through several different, edits, beta readers, alpha readers. And then once I finally had that finished product is when I went into the audiobook production.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. So see that there's the mechanics. There's a lot of what you just gave up is what a lot of, aspiring writers, whether young or, older, wiser or not, that's what it takes. And, you're doing the right things. These are the steps that, a good writer will take. Right. So it didn't matter that, which is the thing that holds back a lot of people is, wow, man, I don't know if my grammar is going to make it. Maybe I shouldn't do it. Let's, forget it. Let's just now, I won't even do it. You didn't stop there. And all said and done, how many pages is this first novel yours?
I believe the final ended up at 318 pages, about 99,000 words.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay. So Joe, what was the inspiration?
So funny enough is it started, I really like lit RPG. I'm not sure if many of the viewers are familiar with it, or if you're familiar with it, Pete, but lit RPG is you take a video game and you turn it into a book. And that's how I envisioned this novel when it started. And so I had this idea, and then I got the idea for the character, and then the character just kind of took over. And I wanted it to also be a modern day Robinson Crusoe, but then it also got taken over again by the character, and it turned into this, this tragedy about this war veteran. And it also like dragged into the light a lot of, the stuff I experienced in the service and other members of the armed services experience, both during and after they see combat or they mobilize. And it really took on a life of its own from, this fun, campy, lit RPG book into this extremely serious and at times downright depressing novel.
Okay. I will tell you this then mentioning and stopping where you did, you have no less than right now on Amazon, you have 63 ratings and 4.7 out of 5. So, 63 is a very high number, a really good number for
Mhm.
a novel that basically just came up. And for those that are watching, it's obvious I have the live page from Amazon up, and the reviews are down here, and everybody likes it. So even though it sounds like you're putting in a lot of thought, and you said the characters taking over, obviously it sounded like you're using some of your personal military experience and throwing that in. The readers like it, and so I'm sure that you're doing well with it. Where do you go from here then? Without getting, we're going to circle back, but I want to know, what are you going to do now? Is this done? Is it one and done?
It's not one and done. I definitely plan on writing in this universe again, and so I had been reaching out to different best-selling authors, like, "Hey, would you like to read my book and review it? That'd be really helpful for me." And really, only one of them got back to me, and that was B.V. Larson. He got back to me and he said, "I just don't have the time to read a book right now, but I'll tell you one thing." Don't ever buy ad space, because your next book is your best ad. So I'm working on another book and I'm trying to get there, but two little boys and everything else that life throws at you.
How far into it are you?
So my next book, A Harvest of Stars, that I'm about 30,000 words into that. So if I continue on the track that I normally do, I'm about a third of the way through.
That is the scoop. That's what we wanted. And you gave
Yeah.
us a working title. So that's fantastic. Thank you, Joe. And you're gonna get there. You're gonna get there. I imagine that, the characters again at some point will just take over whether you like it or not, and they're gonna walk you through that path. Is it gonna be a trilogy? Do you see it as a trilogy or more? Or what do you think, big picture?
As far as this book, The Struggle Between Stars, and the character of the commander, I wrote it in such a way that it could easily be a standalone, but also has the opportunity that if I want to continue in this series, I could go as far as a trilogy, but I'm really more focused on the next book that exists in this universe and focuses more on the aftermath, like generational aftermath of the Solar Wars.
Interesting. Okay. So I mean, in the end, do you see yourself as a, consummate author that, is going to do this, fairly regularly? Or is it just something that, you scratch the itch and, you'll come back later on, give it a few years, or, give it like 5, 6, and maybe you'll come back. How do you see yourself dealing with this?
I would like to do everything as fast as possible. I'm a kind of a guy in life who wants immediacy out of everything, but
Good.
I'm also learning slowly as I get older that that's just not a reality sometimes. So I would like to publish my next book probably in the spring of next year, and just keep on writing, build that fan base, get that fan base going, and then who knows, I might be able to have this take over as a full-time career. That's the
Fantastic.
plan, the dream.
The dream. Good. You got to
Yeah.
dream big. Fantastic. So, the question that we always like to explore on whether it's IFB exclusive or IFB, proper, is if I mean, you've done the audiobook, so that's one of the other
Mhm.
classic questions, done that. So two things. And I'm going to let you pick which of the two we'll go into right now. A, we always want to know what your background in terms of sci-fi and the genre is, whether, it could be horror, whatever it is, TV, movies, your favorites, and if you're really into it or not. And the other thing is, if somebody called you out of the blue and like sometimes you're like in your head, you're like, oh, no, 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 no. Or sometimes you're like, yeah, 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 yeah. And you know that it's going to be a call from some type of a person that can make things happen for you, book related. Would you want it to be a movie producer, a TV producer? Maybe it's a graphic novel, a comic book publisher. you know, which one of those would it be? So maybe, you know, you start with whichever one you want. You want to talk about your background as a maybe as a fan, or do you want to talk about where, you know, you'd like to see the book go? I'll leave that up to you.
Wow, those are two very difficult questions to choose between. I'll start with sci-fi just because you know, I love it. I love sci-fi. I don't know if you can see, but you know, I've got a Battlestar Galactica poster up behind me, so it's just, you know, hanging out up there. Um, so really, anything science fiction. I'm a little bit more into the contemporary side of things, but I mean, original Star Trek, Next Generation, Voyager, even Enterprise with Scott Bakula. You know, I loved it. I also like Star Wars and a lot of work by Ian Douglas, Jack Campbell. I mean, if it's sci-fi, I've probably been there and I've looked into it, and I can't tell you just how much I love sci-fi. So I'll tell you a little anecdote to send it home. A friend of mine gave me a copy of the first season of The Shield, a show that was on FX, and he goes, "You watch that first episode, and you tell me you can't watch another episode directly after it." I watched that first episode, and I was like, "Oh, that was a good show." Popped the DVD out, put it back, walked over to his house and gave it to him. He goes, "What'd you think?" And I go, "It needed more spaceships and lasers." So,
Excellent.
yeah.
Very good. Fantastic. So, all right. Well, then give me what you're watching, you know, either now or some, you know, something that you've kind of really gotten into in the last, you know, couple of weeks or so that, you know, you say, oh, yeah, I really like this. That's sci-fi.
Um, well, you know, it is sci-fi, but it's also got a very dystopian feel to it. Is, you know, the Fallout series that came out on Amazon that was very
Sure.
good. I've been a fan of, you know, video games in general for quite some time, and Fallout New Vegas, my favorite game of all time. I can't not watch that TV show, and I feel like they did a really good job with fan service in that.
It's good. It's good even for those that you know, haven't played it. I mean,
Yes.
I'm aware of it. I knew that it existed, and the imagery that's come out of Fallout's great. So, all right, so you're a fan, right? That's the whole point of this is you're a fan. So now we go to right. You've put out, you know, this past April. It's only been a couple of months, and your book is doing well. The Struggle Between the Stars. I'm gonna actually bring that back up because I want everybody to see it's up on Amazon right now as we speak. And there you go. So you're definitely moving. You already started. You're about a third of the way, give or take, on to the next novel. You want to get that call. What would it be? What call would it be? Would it be to make the movie? Would it be to make a series? Would it be a graphic novel? What do you think?
You know, I would absolutely love to see a film adaptation of this.
Oh,
I think
okay.
it would be in the vein of, you know, thank you for your service, with definitely a sci-fi twist, which I think, you know, that would resonate with a lot of people. And, you know, there's a nerd nation out there that just loves sci-fi probably as much or more than I do. But truly what I would like to see is have, you know, one of the big five call me up and say, "Hey, you know, your book came across my desk. We want to give you it in advance and, you know, put you on the payroll for your next book." That's my main thing that I want. Second would be the movie.
Cool. All right. I like
Yeah.
that. I love it, man. But you'd be surprised. We've had, you know, authors that are not, they're not, you know, consciously thinking about it. They're really just focused on getting, you know, their books out and their stories out. And this idea of like, oh my, what? It doesn't, they can't even, someone can't even answer it. So that's good. I'm glad that you can. Again, you got to think big, man. All right, Joe. So, you know, now you gotta tell us about the world building. How do you actually get that done? How did you make this universe that you created?
That, you know, that's hard to just, you know, start and explain. Like I knew I wanted to take the world we live in now and then just kind of transplant that to space. Give, you know, for instance, the Dominion, which is mentioned very briefly in the very beginning of the book, you know, that's Russia. And then there's the United Systems Confederation. That's America. There's, you know, the Royal Caledonian Navy. That's Britain, you know, and I took all the elements that we have of the world we live in now and, you know, sci-fi'd them. I tried to make the world as close and relatable as possible. And that's where the world building really started.
Okay, that's pretty cool. So it takes place, right? Your story takes place in sort of like our world before it goes somewhere else. Yes.
Yeah, so this is, early on in humanity's the diaspora out from Earth, and we've only gotten into just the Orion Spur, which is like a very small section of the spiral arm of the Milky Way. It's just a small cluster of stars, and that's all we've inhabited. And we're slowly spreading out just because of the limitations of the technology that we have and things of that nature, and that just that pulls the world in and gets it a little bit closer, and it brews conflict, I guess, is what I was trying to go for. Because if you have the whole universe and everybody can spread out, then you're probably not going to have as much conflict when your next neighbor's 6 systems away. But when your nearest neighbor is the very next system, that definitely breeds some conflict.
Okay, so the struggle that geography brings, right? So
Yes.
that's cool, very cool. Let me bring back. I want to bring back the actual the book. All right,
Hmm.
so it's available at Amazon, and I doubt you've had a chance to go to a convention yet. Is that in the cards?
Yes, definitely. I have a convention booked in October. It's just a small local con.
Mhm.
In Bangor, which is a city that's about an hour north of where I live here in Bar Harbor, and that's been going on for a few years. And I'm really more excited to do the convention and meet people who are just excited about the same things I am, more than I am to sell books. Yeah, I want to sell books, absolutely, but I just love meeting people who like sci-fi. It's you make friendships that aren't, you're not going to call them on a Wednesday night and be like, hey, you want to go get beers? But just to know that there's people out there that think the exact same way you do and like the exact same things you do, I think that's priceless.
Yeah, it's cool. So, are you someone that's been to a lot of these things before, or is this something new? Have you done
No,
cons?
I'm mainly an introvert by nature. It's hard for me to break that stay in my home shell, to get out there. Um, but no, this will be the first convention I've ever been to. I don't even think I've been to a live concert in my life, if that illustrates anything.
Okay. All right. Listen, there's no judgment here. It's just, again, we have such a great variety of authors and guests that come to the IFB. We've been around for 4 seasons now, and, it's working our way towards 300 separate episodes of the show with all these guests, and you get a variety. Those that
Hmm.
have, those that have not gone to cons, those that want to go to cons, those that are exploring. And if anything, you're doing it the right way. You start out small, and if it's something that drives you or you think you can do better, then you gradually make your way up. Because I got to tell you, man, as much I've been going to cons since like 1977, 78 was my first con, and I go every year. I'll go to a few of them, and some of these, Joe, are so big that your head'll spin, man. As experienced as you are in life, you go to one of these things and there's 160,000 people in and out in a weekend at a con in one place, and it's like mind-boggling. So, you'll see, you'll gauge whether or not that's something you're going to want to do. But starting out, getting your name out there and being there and talking with people makes a difference, like um struggle between the stars, man. I'm curious, you went and you did the audio thing, and it's narrated by someone named Mason Hunter.
Yeah.
How did you work that angle?
So I put an ad up on Upwork, which is where I found, I'd say probably a good 80% of the freelancers who worked on the book. Mason applied. Probably had about 50 applications,
Oh,
30
wow.
of which did an audition with a sample I provided, and Mason managed to beat out every single person who did an audition. And one of the lines in there was, "I sat at the bar in the aptly named The Terminal," and I had to listen to that line. I'm I don't even think it's probably at least 500 times. I'm sitting there like an audio engineer, like, oh, okay, I like the way he did that. Yes. So Mason beat it out, and he gave me a good price, and he blew me away with what he did.
Wow, that's great. I know that, you know, the audiobook, believe it or not, it has a lot of value. There's a difference between as good as the AI is getting, which I have sampled on some of the audiobooks. I tend to do more audiobooks than not. Um, you know, having a real person that you've vetted makes a, you know, it is a difference there. So, you know, I'm anxious. I'm gonna try the sample out. You have samples out. You're getting the good ratings. It seems to be going places. And you know, hey, military sci-fi is a thing, and
Yes.
when it's written well, you know, people will come to you and they're going to buy it and they're going to get it out there. And you know, you coming out here and doing your interviewing and stuff is the right thing, in my opinion. We appreciate you taking the time out. If you had to tell an audience, right? You have an audience here, and you can, and this obviously the video is going to be up and going. Tell them why your book versus all the other choices they got is the one that they should try.
Ooh, all right. That's a tall order. But I will say this. So my book is authentic, genuine, relatable. Even though this guy's, you know, a special forces veteran, I think everybody out there can relate to this character. And you know, you can get something meaningful out of it while also being entertained.
Okay, that's cool. Sounds like you're talking from the heart, which is
Oh,
what we
absolutely.
like. And Mediocre Modeler is with us. He's a model prop maker, has his own site on social media called Mediocre Modeler, and he's an award winner as well. Commander Kane, Paul, thank you for joining us, and all the others that are popping on and off. Thank you for joining us. We're here with Joseph Dawson. He's the author of a new sci-fi, military sci-fi book, and it's called The Struggle Between the Stars. Let me put that back up. I want everybody to be able to see that. It's right from your Amazon page there. It's available on Amazon. I imagine we can get it on Barnes and Noble and some of the others as well.
I have so no.
Okay.
I just did KDP. Unfortunately, looking into, you know, Barnes and Noble, they have a lot more stringent requirements.
Okay.
KDP really paves the way for self-published authors to get their work out there, which is uh, under time constraint the best option for me.
Okay. All right. Hey, that's fair and honest, man. Can't ask for more. It's available on Kindle. If anybody has Kindle Unlimited, there it's part of the program. It's $4.99 otherwise to buy, and you get points for it. Audiobook, whoever's looking at it can see that I'm an audiobook addict, so I can get it with one click, which I'm going to do afterwards. And then of course there's paperback. The paperback itself can be printed up, and it's only $13.99 with Prime. So, hey, listen, it's a new book. It's fresh. It's nearly brand new. It came out. It was published in April 2024 of this year. So, you know, I mean, if you're into military sci-fi, like you know the bulk of our fans here on Interfleet Broadcasting are, give it a shot, give it a try. You know, I think this is exactly what we need, and I like the fact that you know you're up and honest about it, and I think it's kind of sounds like it's a new take on what everybody kind of likes when it comes to this genre, and you told us that there's another one coming up. You're about 30,000 words into the next
Yep.
one, which is cool. And you're saying what? Give us by the end of the year, Joe, was it? Do you think you'll have it
I
ready?
do most of my writing in the winter because
Okay.
besides also being a chef in the Army and all these other things that I do, I also got a small homestead. I got about 40 chickens. If I open that window, you'd see them running around.
Oh
Um,
boy.
so, you know, I got that. I have a garden. I have other animals that I'm taking care of. So, all during the summer, that's my busy month. And then when the winter comes, it's kind of like my internal clock for, hey, it's okay to be lazy and write a book right now. So I get most of my writing done in the winter, and then it goes out to not publishers, editors in the spring, and then hopefully by late spring or summer, it's on the market.
Oh, wow, if not sooner, but that's great. So, what I'd like you to do is in the back of your head when right before it's ready to go, or right after, but I think it's a little bit more fun when, it's at the printers ready to go. You got to come back to us and then we'll take it apart some more. It'll be, the second you'll be more experienced. You'll tell us some stories of going to the con and how that was, how that felt. So we want you back. We wish you the best of luck. For those that are interested, Joseph Dawson, military sci-fi author, book is on Amazon. And if anybody wants to get an autographed copy, how do they do that, Joe?
So I do have a website.
Okay.
That's josephdawsonbooks.com. That's right on my Facebook page.
Okay.
I'll send you a direct link to it. And I will autograph a copy of the printed book, and I'll send it right to you via
Fantastic.
media mail. Yep.
Per that a lot of the fans, that's another thing. They like autographed books. So if you can't catch Joe at one of the local conventions that he's doing to kind of start out and see if that's a path, which we hope it is, and hopefully you'll end up at some of the bigger shows, and then maybe IFB will be at one of those. You never know, but there you go. You can do that. I just happen to have up your Amazon page up here on, with us. George Zuvalos, award-winning filmmaker, writer, director, producer, actor, has jumped on IFB exclusive. Thank you, George, for jumping on. I'm here with Joseph Dawson. He just published his first military sci-fi book, came out in April, and it's got some really, really good reviews. It's available on Amazon. Joe, any closing words before we wrap up today?
I just want to say I really appreciate you having me on. I hope I answered all your questions and I didn't ramble too much. I was very excited to be on. And for you, Pete, I know you got 9 credits, which is just an extraordinary amount. But as a thank you for having me on, I'd like to give you a free copy. I got Audible codes, so I can send that over to you when we're done here. And do you mind if I do like a short giveaway?
Absolutely not. By all means.
Okay. So if you want to, like, follow, share some stuff on Facebook, you want to send me a message, I have some Kindle codes I can send out. So if you guys are Kindle users, I can absolutely send out, we'll say 5 free copies of the book for the first 5 people to contact me.
There you go, guys. Wow. See that? Talk about exclusives and scoops and just thank you very much, Joe. Really, really appreciate it. Like I said, I'm a big fan, and so is the Tipsy Toaster, my co-host and partner in IFB. Big audio guys. So that's very, very kind of you. So what we usually do is for anyone that sends us stuff up, I will personally do an honest review of your work. So look for that. Once I listen to it, I will definitely give you a review. So thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. Much appreciated. And Sean Shallow from Battlestar Bulletin Board is with us. He also has a site. He's the founder of Battlestar Bulletin Board on Facebook and social media. So thank you for joining, Sean. We're wrapping up. We're here with Joseph Dawson. So for you guys that are coming on or haven't heard, you guys that watch this later on, hopefully, we'll get some big numbers on this. Joe is offered to first, I think you said first 4 or 5.
First 5 to, like anything on my Facebook page, share it, or even just send me a message. I'm just happy to have people read my work, really.
There you go, guys. Exclusive. Thank you very, very much, Joe. Much, much appreciated. And like I said, open door policy. You come back once you're ready at any stage.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, if you want, halfway or whatever it is that you feel that you're ready to talk about the other stuff, the next book, you just reach out and we'll have you back on.
All right. I'll get with John. Too easy.
All right. Perfect. All right, everyone. Thank you very, very much for tuning in, and appreciate Joe, you and what you're doing. Stay safe out there. And, I got to ask, are you a pastry chef, or what's your
No,
specialty?
I continental American and New American fusion.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Just checking. I have a soft spot for the pastry chefs.
I mean, I can bake, but I'm not a pastry chef.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Joe, here's to you and to the fans. You guys will make all the difference. Fans fuel the fleet. So here's to you, and all the best.